Welcome back to the third part of this series where I try to see if I can beat Final Fantasy X by swapping jobs. This is the first recording I've done since I've uploaded the first video, and the fact that people are actually watching this and enjoying this is crazy to me. I initially made this just as a bit of fun, just as a little side project to see if I could do it and to have a bit of fun with it. And yeah, I'm super happy that the response has been so good. So I'm going to do that cringy YouTuber thing and just ask that you please like, comment and subscribe. I would love to be able to do something like this full time and be paid for it. So putting down a like or putting down a comment and especially subscribing to my channel will just help mean that I can make more content and do more things. So yeah, without further ado, let's continue on with the run. So Seymour has just unfortunately died, but not really because he comes back like 3 other times. So instead of arresting us, we just continue on doing the Cloister of Trials, obtaining Shiva, and then the Guado chase us all the way back to Lake Macalania, where this big old random Yeti dude just comes out and decides to fight us. Why the Yeti is friends with the Guado and doesn't like us, we'll never know, but let's get into the fight. As you can see, the gimmick of this fight is that the big Yeti is constantly in berserk. And honestly, after that big old battle that we had with Seymour, this fight is such a cakewalk. The good thing about this battle is that the Yeti is weak to so many statuses. He's weak to blind and he's weak to sleep. He can't be poisoned and he can't be slowed down, but darkness and sleep just ensure that he can't really ever hit us. The most difficult part again is killing these 2 guards, because once again, just like in the Seymour fight, if you attack them, then they automatically use an auto potion to heal their health back by 1,000. There is a little difference though. The guards in the Seymour fight had 2,000 HP, and these only have 1,300 I believe, or 1,200? I think 1,300. And another difference is they don't use remedy whenever they get put into a status. So Yuna has a poison touch weapon, and whenever she poisons them, they won't heal it off them. So it's a lot easier to kill these guards than it was to kill the other guards in the Seymour fight. The guards will, however, throw eye drops and things at the Yeti to make sure he's not blind for too long. So you want to get the guards down as soon as possible. I used Jinx here for some reason. I have no idea why. I just wanted to see what it did. Apparently it lowers their luck. I'm not really sure what the luck stat even does for enemies. But yeah, so that first guard we know is pretty much dead because he's got poison on him and he's not going to cure it off of him. So now we just have to deal with the other one. We're still making sure to get blind off on the Yeti because we don't really want it to attack us. I'm pretty sure we don't take any damage from the Yeti, so spoiler, the Yeti does not cause us any problems whatsoever. He's just so easy to negate. It's very refreshing after such a difficult fight to have this. As you can see, once the guard dies, he casts Protect on the Yeti. And we don't have Dispel yet, so that Protect is going to stay there the whole time. And another thing, once we get this guard down, he will cast Shell on the Yeti. So his defenses are up, but he's not doing any damage to us, so no threat whatsoever. We couldn't get the poison off onto this guard, so I'm deciding to just use some powerful spells. Going with the old technique again, focus with Waka and then use Drain on Lulu to make sure that we're doing more than 1,000 damage and hope that we can get him down. Takes a bit of time, you know, we have to keep focusing, putting haste on our characters, etc, etc. But honestly, it's so easy, you know, it's super easy. Time consuming, but easy. So yeah, this second guard takes a little bit longer than the first one, but eventually it does go down. Now it's time for the big bad Yeti man himself. And without his minions to protect him, he's super weak to all of these statuses. We're using Dark Attack over Dark Buster. So Dark Attack has less chance of being successful, but it lasts for 3 turns, whereas Dark Buster is usually around 100% success rate of inflicting darkness on them, but it only lasts for 1 turn. So I have Yuna, Lulu and Waka that all know Dark Attack. Waka starts off with Dark Attack, Yuna learns Dark Attack on her way to Auron's Sphere Grid, and Lulu obviously has Dark Attack because she is on Waka's Sphere Grid. So that's pretty cool. We now have the darkness on him, and we're pretty untouchable. So we just send out our 3 strongest attackers. That's Kimahri, Auron, and Yuna, and we just keep on attacking. I tried to use slow, but it doesn't work. I was just testing it out, wasn't too sure. I have Kimahri to use cheer on everyone to increase their attack, and then just keep on attacking. I'm really enjoying Kimahri in this run. He usually just casts haste and cheer on everyone, so he kind of is sort of like a buffer, you know, sort of like a white mage in the sense, but more for like buffing characters, increasing their stats and increasing their speed, but also has really powerful attack as well. So yeah, he's super handy. I really enjoy using Kimahri this run. But yeah, as you can see here, we're just attacking and attacking until eventually he dies. So nice and easy boss fight. Probably say more of like a mini boss fight than anything. But yeah, even though we just saw him die, turns out he is actually still alive, and instead of running away, we just kind of stand there and watch as he jumps up in the air and breaks the ice, sending us all down to the bottom of the lake. I'm aware that Yuna is about to leave the party for quite a while, so I use the 2 sphere levels that she has just to get armor break. And then, oh no, Sin's back again, and he's rumbling. Except when they show him in the FMV, he's literally just swimming around. So how is there water above them? I felt like Sin was above them. It makes no sense. I think they got very lazy with this. They just had this shot, and they decided to use it. And then, oh no, he uses Sin's toxin. But we don't actually see what the toxin is. It's just a bunch of like white flashing lights. And somehow this toxin can teleport you to a random desert island. We wake up in an oasis on Bikanel Island, but Tidus notices that he's all alone. So he decides to walk around, but then gets ambushed by a giant bird. I got a little nervous in this fight because I thought, oh god, Tidus has no offensive capabilities. There's no way he can get this bird's health down, and I wasn't sure how long it would take for someone to arrive. But before we know it, Auron comes and joins in. And now I'm feeling a lot better because Auron is powerful, and I feel like with him we can actually destroy him. And then all of a sudden Lulu uses a magic spell that she hasn't even learnt before. She's got Fundara for some reason, just for that one time. So now that we have a party of 3, I'm not feeling too worried. I know this guy has a lot of health, and honestly, most of the enemies in Bikanel Island have a lot of health, and this is probably one of the harder areas of the game, especially because we don't have Yuna, and Yuna does the most amount of damage. So yeah, this part of the game, very, very slow. I feel like I've said slow a lot through this playthrough, but it is just very slow because of how low our stats are. But yeah, as you can see here, we're just getting haste off onto Lulu and using lots of cheers to make the fight go a little bit quicker. And using darkness is super effective on this guy because it just ensures he can't really attack us. And yeah, it just becomes a case of beating him up until eventually he dies. Since we're missing the damage from Yuna, I decided to give Lulu the 3rd strength sphere that we got from the Thunder Plains. And then we continue on through the desert. If you're going for all the special items around here, you have to go through this area full of very tough monsters. And one of the toughest monsters is this big old worm boy. He has a lot of health and he's immune to stone touch. I'm not sure if he's immune to death or not. I decided to take Lulu's death strike weapon off of her just to see like what we're dealing with. And she's dealing a good amount of damage now. She's like in the 700s or so. Best way to kill this guy is to poison him. So we have poison touch weapon for Kimahri, I believe, and maybe Lulu as well. I'm not too sure. Poison does 4,500 damage, which is way stronger than any attack we can do. So you just want to get poison on it and then attack it. He likes to use this swallow technique, which is really frustrating. It removes you from battle and he will spit you back out again. But if you kill him while he's swallowed someone, they don't get the experience. You spent all this time trying to kill him. And then if he swallows someone and then he dies before he spits them out, then your party member just doesn't get experience and it's a complete waste of time. Not a complete waste of time, but it's just annoying. Do you know what I mean? And honestly, most of the fights in this area are just very tough. There's a lot of big monsters here. And the lack of Yuna is really showing. I won't show you too many fights because there's nothing much I can really say about them other than they're quite tricky. And Yuna is very sorely missed. Yuna has become my favourite character in this playthrough because she can heal. She's kind of like a paladin, I guess, because she can heal and she can also deal a lot of damage. Yeah, she's just very cool. To be honest, I found most of the random battles in this game a lot harder than the bosses, and that's because the bosses have like a strategy. You know what they're going to do, and they're not as frequent. You can prepare for them, you know? Whereas random battles, it's like you're just trying to get from A to B, and you're having to spend like 15 minutes just trying to get through like one basic enemy, just to then be brought into another random battle with another enemy with loads of HP. But yeah, so that's the big wormy fight. You can see here he swallows up Lulu and then we actually kill him. So, well, the poison kills him. So Lulu gets none of the experience. But anyway, that fight's annoying. I'm going to show you another fight that's quite difficult usually, and that's against this giant thing. I don't know what to call it. The big plant that shoots seeds at you. The main reason that it's annoying and difficult is because it has a seed burst attack that almost always inflicts confusion on you. As you can see here, he's using it on Waka, and now Waka is confused, and it's just a bit annoying. It also has a very tough armor, so you have to use piercing weapons on it. They're kind of like mini boss battles, I guess, but not really. They're just slightly more challenging than the rest of the enemies. But yeah, I didn't have too many problems with this monster like I usually do, and that is all thanks to my main man Waka. Comes in with his TKO and boom! Dead. We make it back to the Albed home, and then Riku's all like, ah! And we discover that her home is being destroyed by the Guado, and then what follows is possibly the saddest scene in any Final Fantasy game ever. The death of Random Albed number 43. After wiping away the tears, it's time to do a little levelling up sesh. So Auron's got some more strength and agility, which is lovely. Kimahri has learned Sloga, which is awesome, so now we can slow all enemies at once with some nice HP and strength boosts. Waka has actually got much better defenses now. We increase his magic defense and his defense, which is awesome. We also gain some MP as well, which is always handy as he'll be learning more powerful spells soon. Tidus has also boosted his defense, so that's good that both of our mages have boosted their defenses as they can take more hits. And he also increases his magic. Lulu gets a good little buff in her magic, her HP and her strength, which is super cool. She also learns Sleep Buster, which is really nice. The increase in magic is also really good because she uses Drain quite a lot. And most importantly, Riku now has access to all the level 2 black magic spells. And now I'm going to start moving her into Waka's grid. So yeah, the red mage is coming along with the magic side of things. I just need to boost her strength now. There's not much to show of the random battles in this area, mainly because Waka's TKO and Lulu's Death Strike makes good work of everything here. When we get to this little save sphere here, I decide to do some leveling up. The only notable things is that we get Demi and Mug, and then it's time for some very important story stuff that happens here. So this is when Tidus kind of finds out the truth about what happens with the pilgrimage, and he's asking loads of questions and everyone's being a bit awkward about it and silent.
If Guardians do their job well, summoners will be safe. Right? Right?
And then Kimahri just decides to break the silence with this hilarious line.
It's quiet. Kimahri goes now.
And then he just sort of walks off and it plays like the really emotional music. And everyone runs down the stairs. I don't know why. It's just so humorous. Whenever this game tries to be emotional, it just ends up being so funny to me. I don't know why. It's so awkward and I frickin' love it. I do actually really like this scene after when Tidus finally finds out the truth that Yuna's going to die at the end of her pilgrimage. I never saw it coming. Maybe it's super obvious. I played this game first when I was about 10 years old, so I was a stupid dum-dum and I was like, oh my god, no, Yuna dies. And you really feel that Tidus is actually genuinely heartbroken by this. He's been promising all these things like, I'm going to take you to Zanakin, and you know, you feel really sorry for him. You feel kind of like everyone's cheated him. Nobody told him because they thought it'd be too hard, but they've just let him be dumb the whole time. And yeah, for how awkward the last scene was, you actually feel how genuine his emotion is in this, and it's really nice. I like this scene. That's the thing about this game. It's got two halves to it. It's super cringy and awkward at times. Then it has some like really real, heartfelt moments that really punch hard. And yeah, this is one of those moments.
Was I the only one who didn't know? Tell me why. Why were you hiding it? Why didn't I know?
We weren't hiding it.
It was just too hard to say.
Lulu! How could you? How could you? Isn't she like a sister to you? I thought you were family. Why don't you do something, Waka?
Don't you think we tried to stop her? She follows.
The track that plays in the background as well is like the main theme of the game, and it's used so well here. It's such a pivotal point. Yeah, it just drives the emotion right back home. And then of course this game kind of ruins it by this super close-up shot of Riku. Like the camera just keeps on going in and in and in, and you're like, ah!
3 minute maft.
We make it onto the airship, but quickly, we've only got 3 minutes left till it blows up. So let's spend about 5 minutes arguing and fighting and talking about absolute nothing. However, I do like the way Sid says sin. I find that very entertaining.
And then you just drag her to Zanakin and make her fight Shin, huh?
I love the airship in this game. It just has a really cool design to it. Very like futuristic compared to most other Final Fantasy games. And it's really cool that you actually discover this airship right at the beginning of the game when you're underwater with Riku. But yeah, it's time for a little send-off sing-song with the Al Bhed to see home goodbye.
No me no. Me.
Oh, so sad. Goodbye home. But the adventure continues. We are now heading to Bevelle to get Unit back. But we are interrupted by the giant dragon worm Evrye, which protects Bevelle or something. And this is a scary fight. I was actually quite nervous for this because I remember this being very tough, having to pull in and out. And some of its attacks are very powerful. I think it can turn you to stone and it can poison you, and it uses haste on itself. So yeah, let's see how our party does against Evrye. So here we are against Evrye, and as mentioned before, it can move backwards and forwards and do different attacks depending on how close in proximity it is to you. So as the battle starts, I'm just testing out what I can do to it, using Riku's new level 2 magic abilities, not doing too much damage, but her magic's fairly low. Lulu's doing some good amount of damage now, over 1,000, so that's really cool. She's going to be used quite a lot in this battle just to be dealing damage. I'm getting Tidus out in this battle to use Protect on everyone. Because he did over 1,200 damage to us, I'm thinking I need to get Protect on all of the main party members that we have. However, using Stone Gaze is a bit of a problem because it removes all of the buffs that you have on it. So if you have Protect on or Haste or Cheer, that is no longer on you anymore. So it's a little bit annoying, but I still think it's worth getting Protect and Haste on everyone just so that we get more turns in. Drain's doing a nice amount of damage. And then I know this guy likes to use haste on himself, so I'm going to use slow for now. I'm not quite sure when the haste comes out. I believe it's once it hits a certain threshold, haste will come out and then slow is no longer useful. But for now, we'll keep him slow. That's one of the things that actually, which can actually affect him, because sleep and darkness and all of that doesn't do anything to him. And poison as well doesn't affect him. Here's the dream team for this battle. We've got Lulu for damage, Auron casting haste on everyone, and Tidus casting protect on people. So there's his big poison breath attack, which is quite scary. It does a lot of damage to us. But we have access to Albed potions now, and Albed potions are way better than white magic because they heal all 3 party members and remove a lot of their statuses. So you can see here, Oren is poisoned, but once we use an Albed potion, the poison's gone and his health is healed up. Super useful item, so powerful. If you have alchemy on your armor, then it actually deals 2000 healing to you. So alchemy plus Albed potion is super broken. Yeah, as you can see there, Stone Gaze still stoning people, but we're just using Tidus to use Ezna. And whenever Tidus has nothing to do, we can use Cheers, or we can use Protect or Shell, or Tidus is just there as a little, like, you know, helping hand. Lulu's and Oren are the main ones doing damage. So cool now that Lulu is our strongest character. Just seeing her little Moogle run up to this big old dragon and dealing 1300 damage. It's kind of crazy, but I love it. It's so fun watching Lulu just decimate being stronger than Oren, this big dude with a massive sword. And you can see there, she did over 3000 damage. Oh yes, as you can see, now that he's getting lower on HP, he brings out haste. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to bring out Kamari and use slow on it. But he automatically counters with haste, so you kind of can't get rid of haste. I don't know if using Dispel would do anything different, but it seems to be whenever you cast slow or remove his haste, he casts it back on himself. So you just have to deal with him having more agility towards the end of the fight. Whenever he does this thing where he sort of like stretches and leans up, that means he's going to come in with a poison breath. So you can kind of prepare for it, you know? So the poison breath comes out and we all just about survive. It's a powerful attack, but it's not doing too much damage. And the poison doesn't even really do much because we can just get rid of it with an Albed potion. So you can see here, I just send out Riku just so that she can use her Albed potion. Everyone's back to normal again. Not a tough fight. I remember this fight being a lot harder than this. I think when it pulls out, it uses like this photon spray thingy-mabob. And that's really powerful. But he never moves back at all. He just stays really close. But yeah, a lot of people have mentioned that this isn't a very challenging challenge run. And I get that, it's not. It's more just for the adventure and the thrill of it and coming back to a game that I love so much. So Evrye goes down and now it's time to crash the wedding. Now, that's the easy part out of the way. The hard part is actually these guards leading up to the altar bit where Yuna is. So, I mentioned earlier that boss battles are pretty easy because we can prepare for them. And normal enemies are just so ridiculously hard. So, I know that these guys have flamethrowers. So, I use Null Blaze to make sure that we negate it at least once. But of course, there's 2 of them, so it happens twice. And poor little Waka goes down. And yeah, you don't actually get to heal up between the Evrye fight and this part of the game. So everybody's MP and HP is quite low. And there's no way to use Lancet on any of these guys. Like, you can use Lancet, but they don't really have any MP. So you're kind of stuck. If you run out of MP, you have to use an Ether or you just have no MP. And we used Cura and Protect and things like that quite a lot. So you can see that Tidus's MP goes down quite a bit. But yeah, look how much damage we're taking. Our party members are dying. They have a lot of health, these enemies, so it's just taking a while because every turn we have to use a Phoenix down to get our teammates back up again. And yeah, you can definitely see some characters are way more powerful than others. All of our mages are just so unbelievably weak because usually the mages in this game, i.e. Yuna and Lulu, have high evasion to make up for their low HP and defenses and things like that. But since Tidus and Waka and Riku are the mages essentially, they all have terrible HP, terrible defenses, and lack the natural evasion that Lulu and Yuna have. So I'd honestly say the strongest ones are Oren, Yuna, and Lulu. They have good strength, good HP and evasion, good defenses, like they're solid, but all of our mages, they're just weak AF. So this challenge definitely benefits the physical attackers more than the magic attackers, which is interesting, I suppose. I don't really know. Maybe it's not interesting.
Hey champ, that's really interesting.
After we get down the big robot, it's quite easy to finish the fight, but we're struggling a lot. And yeah, as you can see here, I'm curing everyone with Tidus, and then I'm like, oh shit, I ran out of MP. So I'm like, okay, let's use Lancet on this robot, and I get 1 MP back. But yeah, once that's all over, we meet up with Yuna, and she decides that she is going to jump from the top of Bevelle. And everyone's all like, no! But then Yuna's like,
I can fly.
and then Tidus is like, no! Then Yuna's like, bro, chill, I got this. And Tidus is like, yeah, okay. And then Yuna does it. She steps off the platform and falls to her death. Just kidding, she actually gets saved by Valfor. And this scene's actually really nice. Maybe this is me reading way too deep into it, but this is sort of like a reminder to Yuna of where she came from. You know, Valfor is the first Aeon that she gets in the game, and it just so happens to be the thing that saves her. You know, she's come so far and done so much, and so much has happened and changed, and this is like a reminder that her home is with her, you know. She's got this. That's probably looking way too deep into it, but there's some significance in Valfor being the Aeon that saves her in this moment, you know. The Bevelle Cloister of Charles can literally suck my left toe. Nobody likes it, it's dumb, it's stupid. Having to mash the X button to stop yourself from flying off into space is dumb. Having to be on this platform instead of just walking around is dumb. Nobody likes this part of the game. It's the worst part of the game, but we get through it. We obtain a HP sphere, which we immediately give to Tidus because he's pretty weak. Then we also receive the Knight Lance for Kimari, which is pretty cool. It gives him like plus 18 strength. So that's really cool. It means he can now deal a lot more damage, which is nice.
The real traitor is Maester Seymour.
Now, this is where the story goes a little bit off the rails for me. So Yuna gets put on trial because she didn't want to marry Seymour, I guess, or she's a traitor or whatever. And then Yuna's like, no, actually, Seymour's the traitor because he's dead and he killed his father. And then Micah's like, psych, I'm also dead. And it's like, if everyone is dead, what is the point in what is the point in being alive in Spira? When you die in this world, you still get to be yourself. You still get to exist. There's no repercussions for being dead. So, like, I understand why the Maesters want Sin around, why they want everyone to be dead, because being dead is awesome. You're basically immortal. Unless a summoner sends you, you just get to walk around the earth doing what you do.
Life is but a passing dream, but the death that follows is eternal.
Why are we even fighting anything? Why do we need to kill Sin? Can't we just let Sin kill everyone? If people can just walk around and be exactly the same as when they were alive, except they get to choose when they get sent off to the far plane, then let Sin kill everyone. I'm on the Maester's team. I get it. But yeah, the intentions start to get a little bit skewed. It gets a little bit confusing. Not quite sure who the good guys are, who the bad guys are. Maybe the Maesters are allowed to be human when they're dead because they believe in Yevon so much, and if you're like a normal human and you die, you turn into a fiend. Who knows? They don't explain it very well, but I'm on Team Maester. Kill everyone. I'm Team Sin. Kill everyone. Get everyone dead. After the trials, we all get sentenced to death, and Tidus gets pushed into this lake with all the other characters that can swim, because that's convenient, right? And he happens to have the latest reactions known to man. The characters who can't swim get sent to the Via Purifico, where we get one of the most awesome tracks of the entire series.
Lady Yuna, forgive me.
Okay, finally we're back in control of our characters and we can get into some fights. That was a lot of story stuff going on, so now we can get back into some gameplay. Now that we have Yuna, we are all by ourselves, but I'm like, this should be easy. Yuna's a badass. She can just kill these guys, no problem. I've got poison touch weapon, I've got healing abilities. This should be easy, right? So we've got 2 of these little fishmen and a flan, and we're taking a bit of a beating. I'm kind of worried. Usually at this part in the game you would use Aeons to get through this part, but obviously we can't use Aeons. I'm thinking Yuna's got this though. She's a tough gal. I'm just going to go through and use armor breaks. I still don't have piercing yet. I do have piercing available, but it uses a level 2 key sphere and they're quite rare. So I don't want to waste the level 2 key sphere yet. I want to put it on a weapon that I know I'm going to use for a while. And she has armor break, which does enough. But yeah, Yuna dies. We have our first game over, guys. We try again and the same thing happens, so we try one more time, and then on the third attempt I'm like, okay, Kimahri's around the corner, so maybe if I get to him before we get an encounter, we'll be okay. And surprisingly enough, we actually make it there without encountering anything. So if we did get into a random encounter, I would have eventually just put piercing on her weapon and we probably would have been okay. Yeah, we didn't need to. We got Kimahri and then we soon pick up Lulu and Auron and we're all right again. So now that we have the party again, it's time to just show you where we're at with everyone's stats. Auron still can't kill these hard enemies, but that's okay because we have Yuna again and she's more than capable of taking care of them. And we have this evil eye which we can't seem to hit, but check this out. Lulu manages to kill it, so all those accuracy spheres on Waka's grid is paying off and she's turning more into Waka now. Now look at everybody's strength before we go into the Isaru fight. Everyone's on 30, 31 and then Lulu and Yuna are both on 33 strength, so they're well powerful and feeling confident going into the Isaru fight. So this is of course where we do have to break the rules as you are forced to use Aeons here, so we're going to fight Isaru. I'm not sure how powerful my Aeons are going to be because I haven't, used them at all and we haven't grinded very much, so they might be really weak, but let's just see how it goes. He first sends out Evrye and I'm like, right, I'm just going to send out Bahamut because I know that Bahamut is very powerful and there's just no point in sending out anyone other than Bahamut. He does the most damage. You can win pretty much every single battle in this game using Bahamut, so it's definitely the most broken option you have playing Final Fantasy X, which is why I said no Aeons in this run, because it's a very easy out from a difficult fight. But yeah, I'm not quite sure how much damage he does. And then, right. So according to the internet, Yuna's stats and her Aeon stats are like interlinked. So because she's gained a lot of strength nodes, it means that her Aeons have also gained a lot of strength nodes. Hence why Bahamut is just doing massive damage to everything. So every single other fight goes the exact same. We just send out Bahamut and kill him, except for when Isaru sends out Bahamut, because then we have to send out Ixion, who literally kills him in like 3 hits. So all his Bahamut does is count down until he uses his overdrive, but we kill him way before that even happens. So we never really hear about Isaru ever again, and we can all just move on and pretend he never even existed. Back underwater though with our mages, and things aren't looking too peachy. So I'm going to get into a random battle here and show you how weak these guys are. These enemies are usually quite easy to beat because we just attack them with our powerful characters like Tidus and Waka, but we have to rely on spells now. Luckily, Riku has learned her level 2 black magic spells, so she can be casting Thundara along with Waka, but it'd be really good if we knew our level 3 black magic spells, but we're not quite there yet, so it's chip damage until they die. Waka has Demi, which is so powerful. I think it does a quarter of their max HP to them, and it targets all of the enemies. So it's a nice ability to use at the start of a battle because, that's when the HP is at its highest. And you can see here, Thundara is making good work of the little ones, but these big boys are a little bit more challenging. Riku can't really take many hits as well, so I used Tidus to use Protect on her. And yeah, you can see Tidus also takes a lot of damage, over 1,000 there. Yeah, Tidus is doing his thing, curing up everyone, giving them Protect, and our mages are Thundaraing everything. And it's just really cool to see these characters using magic spells underwater, because you just never usually would see that in a normal run. And that's what I love about this game, is that I'm still finding new ways to play it and enjoy it because it's just a good game. You can see they are actually weak to Stone Touch, so we have a nice easy out. Now let's get into the second Evrye fight, which is against Evrye the zombie. So the big one that we killed earlier actually didn't die, it somehow ended up under the water and is ready to kill us again. I know what you're thinking, just chuck 2 Phoenix Downs at this guy and he's dead. But I want to try to do this legit. I don't want to, take the easy route. And I have 2 white mages on my team with Riku and Tidus, so I'm like, let's just see how the fight would go without using Phoenix Downs. So everyone's health is low, which is the issue, but he also has Stone Gaze, and it misses on Waka. Evrye will always get Stone out on at least one party member and destroy it. And honestly, whoever he picks, it doesn't really matter. Because we have 2 people that can use healing magic. If it gets rid of 1, no biggie. And we also have Waka that can do focus, which is pretty good. So I'm not too worried about that. He uses his photon spray, which is the only thing that we have to really worry about. I get protect out on everyone as well, just so that his physical damage doesn't do too much to us. And I believe the photon spray is magic damage, so focus is helping with that. We've got Albed potions. Stone Gaze comes out and it hits Riku, and I think that's probably the best one it could have hit. Of course, we don't have access to Albed potions anymore, but we can still use Cura from Tidus and Focus from Waka. So that is pretty much the fight. Protect is doing a lot of good stuff, so his physical hits aren't doing too much. Photon Spray doesn't do too much to us either. We're looking pretty good. We can also use Waka to use high potions and heal instead. Tidus's Cura can simply deal damage, and you can see there Fira does barely anything. We're so much better off using healing magic. But yeah, there's not much to say about this fight. It kind of just goes like that. He just rinse and repeats using Photon Spray and his usual claw attack, and that's fine. We're not too worried. Everything goes pretty smoothly. And yeah, I'll skip past most of this and just get towards the end because nothing interesting happens. We keep using Cura and Evrye dies for the second and final time. The gang is all back together. Now that they've killed their respective bosses and gotten through the dungeons, it's time to leave. But oh no, Seymour's back again and he's killed Keenock, everyone's favourite character. And for some reason Keenock can't come back to life like the rest of them. And then Seymour just starts saying more cryptic bullshit like he usually does. Like, ooh, come with me, Yuna, we will become sin together. And it's like, bro.
Come, Lady Yuna.
Get the hint, she ain't interested. She literally jumped off of a church to avoid marrying you. Like, she clearly ain't coming with. So Kimahri's had enough of his bullshit, so he just decides to do what he knows best. And then Seymour's like, oh no, you shouldn't have done that. And he starts transforming again into this crazy monster. And we have the second fight against Seymour. And everyone is ready, except no, they're not. They all just decide to run away. But then Yuna's like, no, we shouldn't run away. And they're like, okay, let's go back again. Checking out their stats before we go into the Seymour fight, and you can see Lulu has some pretty good strength and accuracy. Compared to Yuna, they're on a similar sort of level strength-wise. But Lulu just has a bit more defense, and their agility is around the same as well. Tidus's magic is actually really high on 40, and you can see compared to people like Riku, who only has 27, he's a way better mage. He also has higher agility than her, so Tidus is looking pretty good. And you can see Waka's magic also isn't very high, only on 29. That's just the nature of Lulu's grid. Yuna's grid just happens to have more magic stats in it, hence why Tidus's magic is so high, and the other two mages aren't. And you can see here Auron's agility is doing really well. He's on 26, and yeah. Now getting into the fight, you can see Seymour has this little buddy with him this time, and it has its own HP bar, but there's no point in killing it because when it runs out of health, it just absorbs health from Seymour, so you might as well just keep attacking Seymour. Seymour does quite a lot of damage here. He's doing over 1,000 with his magic spells. So you can see here Waka can use Faraga now, which is awesome. He's learnt the level 3 black magic skills. So that's good. He's doing a lot of damage. He's actually got the highest damage of any other character at the moment. So that's very cool. Just testing out Lulu here now, and she's doing some good damage, making sure everyone gets a turn. You know the drill. And yeah. This is another fight that goes through phases. So this first phase is Seymour using multi-War Terror and multi-Blizzara, all of that, which he did in the last Seymour fight, so we understand that, we know how to deal with this. But once his HP gets to a certain threshold, he'll start to use Break on us, which petrifies us, and his little buddy can use Shattering Claw to completely wipe out one of our party members. And then after that he moves into a third phase where he uses Flare on us, which just deals big amounts of damage. So you can see here the third phase is actually triggered when you do enough damage to him, and he casts Protect on himself when it's not even his turn. So now we know he's in the break phase, and luckily Tidus has Dispel now, so he can get rid of the Protect on him, and we have to be cautious of the Petrify. So the little buddy uses Shattering Claw. That's fine. Nobody's petrified. We survived that. All good. We're just attacking him until he decides to use Break. And it comes out. It gets Lulu, but we have another turn and use Azuna. So we're looking good. You know, the Shattering Claw, when it comes out, it's not going to do anything. Now you can see in the little sidebar here that Tidus is in the middle of Seymour and his little buddy, which means if he petrifies anyone that isn't Tidus, Tidus can just immediately remove the petrification and not get shattered. But yeah, Tidus gets the break, and then Shattering Claw comes out and it misses. So we get off pretty scot-free. We surprisingly don't get anyone who stays petrified and gets shattered. So that's really good. We get to use all 3 party members. Here a break comes out again. It hits Tidus, but luckily it is Yuna's go and she can immediately cure it again, making sure that it doesn't get the shatter off. And yeah, this phase is coming to an end. We're doing good damage to it. You can see here Seymour goes for one more break onto Lulu and then the Shattering Claw, but he targets Yuna for some reason instead, which is fine. And that is pretty much the break phase over. We cure off Lulu's petrification, give him a few more hits, get haste on our important characters, and yeah, keep hitting him until he moves into the flare phase. Oof, that is some big damage, but hey, Yuna survives it, which is pretty cool. But then she also dies to this Desperado attack. But I'm feeling good. Our party is strong somehow. Like, we're just very strong at the moment. This is probably the strongest that we've been. This feels the most like a normal run here. We're not falling into too many issues with this fight. To be fair, this is probably the easiest of the Seymour fights. They do get a lot trickier after this, and the one before was quite tricky. But this one is a nice, easy one. And yeah, Flare does a lot of damage, but we can just revive whoever gets hit by it. So we're sitting pretty. It's just a case of healing up, doing damage, you know, the usual. No super special tactic required for this, just keep on doing what we usually do. Now that I know that Seymour is just going to use Flare and his little buddy is just going to use Cura on him, I can get out my 3 strongest damage dealers, which are Auron, Yuna, and Waka. Auron can also cast haste on people and use Albed potions if their health gets too low. So these are the 3 that end up being the MVPs of this fight. Just Firaga with Waka, attack with Yuna, attack with Auron whenever he doesn't have to heal up or do any other sort of tech, and just keep on doing this until Seymour dies. It's definitely pretty easy. I think if you get the Shattering Claw on someone in the second phase of the fight, then it becomes a lot harder, and I can see why this would be a very challenging fight. Lucky for us, RNG was on our side, and that didn't happen to us. If it did, who knows, maybe this could have been a game over for us, but I highly doubt it. So we're getting towards the end of the fight here, and I'm just going to leave this episode here for now. And tune in next week as we return in the Calm Lands and make our way through Zanarkand and do some more of the endgame sort of stuff of this game, which is very exciting. And yeah, Seymour goes down, but I'm pretty sure we'll be seeing more of him soon. Just like how you'll be seeing me soon, next week actually, when the next episode comes out. So tune in and see you later. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye.